So, uh, something cool happened the other day, a couple of days ago. Tulsi Gabbard had a live stream where she was promoting her fundraiser and her fundraising competition that she has going on for her campaign. In case you have not yet, go donate. I will post a link to that to the donation domain in the comments section below. I'm going to pin it to the top. But yeah, something cool happened. Take a listen.
All right. Let's see. A lot of you are asking. Niko's been great. I know he's talked about a lot of very important issues.
All right, so I guess that means I can officially retire. I'm done. I'm gonna, wipe my hands clean to this political stuff. That's all I've ever wanted in my life. Hold on. Is it okay? Can I go ahead and? Yeah, it's a little bit. Pat myself on the back a little bit. Oh man, it was ridiculous how happy I was. And it's funny because I've talked to Tulsi on DMs and things like that, and she's told me that her husband and her sister has even said that they're big fans of the show. But it's another thing to hear it when nobody else is listening, but it's another thing to be on a live stream talking about your presidential campaign and then going out of your way to shout me out. That's was awesome. I greatly appreciate Tulsi. You know that you're appreciated here. Of course, you know that I want to see you on that debate stage, and I want to see you in that White House because you bring a lot of interesting perspectives and important experiences to the entire presidential conversation. Like I said the other day, Tulsi is probably, as much as I do like Bernie, don't get me wrong, and I would still be happy with the Bernie Sanders presidency, Tulsi does bring that very unique perspective and that unique ability to embody both the president's job and the job of the commander-in-chief, right? Now, this is important, not just because of her shouting me out, but because obviously, who wouldn't love that? But she also gives a shout out to Kyle Kulinski of Secular Talk. She talks about going on Joe Rogan's show. Obviously, like she loves Jimmy. And I think that this is important for an entirely different reason. Tulsi acknowledges the independent community. Tulsi acknowledges the independent movement. And let's be very clear about something. The independent journalism community can and has swayed the outcome of an election. And I don't think that Tulsi Gabbard is naive to this. I think that she's very aware of it, which is why she went on Joe Rogan, which is why Andrew Yang followed in her footsteps, and why Tulsi is going to go back on Joe Rogan. Eventually, we will, of course, have her on this show. In fact, we'll probably have her on the show. We'll probably have her on the show whenever she gets done and seals the deal with the debate stage conversation. So, all that being said, she has to get to the debate stage. Okay? So, once again, in the comment section, she is so close. She wants to reach this goal by the end of this month so that the Democratic Party has absolutely no excuse for why they would keep her off the debate stage. Technically, yes, she is supposed to be polling. She's supposed to be able to get on the debate stage if she's polling at 1%. And yes, she is polling at 1% for the most part. However, the Democratic Party can arbitrarily choose, or 1% or more for the most part. But the Democratic Party can arbitrarily choose which polls they choose to and choose not to acknowledge, because at least all of the polls do favor the candidates that they prefer. So we need to get her on that debate stage and make sure that it's etched in stone that she will be there. So you can donate as little as $1 right now. Go to her. If you're a fan of the show, you better go there. I mean, she's shouting me out, man. You better go take care of her. $1, $2, $5. We can worry about increasing the amount of donations later. We can even, well, I'm not going to say don't keep donating if you haven't, but you can set up monthly donations to make sure that you keep continuing to help the campaign. All that stuff is good. But we have to get her on that debate stage, or it's going to be a very, very difficult for her to win this election. It will. And that's not to say that she couldn't get on the next debate stage. That's not what, it doesn't disqualify her from running, but it hurts her chances. It does. We know that these rules were partially put in place because they were anticipating Tulsi Gabbard running 4 years ago. The moment that 2016 ended and Tulsi gave that full-throated endorsement of Bernie Sanders at the convention, and she wouldn't leave the spotlight, which she shouldn't have, of course, they started putting out hit pieces on her. And for those of you who have some critiques of her faults or things that she's said or done in the past, understand that Tulsi is critical of herself as well. This isn't like Kamala, who when she's asked about her past, she totally avoids discussing it. She says, I was a progressive prosecutor. That would be a lie. And she knows it's a lie. Right? This isn't like Elizabeth Warren, who's, whenever we asked her, why did you make the decision that you made in 2016 to abandon progressives that you supposedly support and abandon Bernie Sanders? And she says, well, let's not relitigate 2016. Let's move forward. That's not facing what you've done. It's not showing us that you've learned from what you've done. Tulsi, on the other hand, acknowledges the things that people have said about her. She addresses them. She corrects them when they need to be corrected. But like the conversion therapy thing, she's actually corrected everybody, including myself, because she said the things that I said when I was 21, yeah, that's true. And of course, she's explained and apologized for that. But then she was like, I didn't know what conversion therapy was until like last year. So that was actually a lie. It was a lie put out by the establishment. One of the many lies that was put out over the last 3 years about Tulsi. But she addresses everything substantively. When she talks about meeting with Assad, when she talks about her stance on Venezuela, she addresses them. She doesn't avoid them. She doesn't dodge. You know who dodges things? Well, everybody except for her and Bernie, basically. That's it. Think about it. Kamala actually she had like a damn crush on Modi. Love this man. And yet Tulsi was faced with a disproportionate amount of insults and attacks. And once again, they linked her Hindu religion to the attacks and to her quote unquote love affair, quote unquote. It's not a real thing, but they said she had a love affair with Modi. Except for, I would say that Kamala definitely has more ties to India, is in that neoliberal class of people who does have a love affair with Modi. Kamala herself loves Modi. Her family is obviously Indian. She is very close with her Indian American or her Indian family, to the point where her aunt came from India to campaign for her Senate race. Like, she's still close with them, and she still has more close ties to India and Modi than Tulsi does. And yet the media only uses Modi when they want to. Y'all didn't even know who Modi was until Tulsi announced she was going to run. But they never mentioned it when it came to Kamala Harris, nor did they try to use the fact that she was Indian to link her to Modi, right? So it's these type of things, like all the attacks that are coming against Tulsi in a really weird and unique way. You got to judge someone in politics by who their enemies are. You do. And of course who their allies are, but who are their enemies? Tulsi's enemies seem to be both sides of the establishment. Tulsi's enemy seems to be the establishment media in general. Tulsi's enemy seems to be the military-industrial complex, Israeli lobbyists, Saudi Arabia. These are her enemies. But who are her allies? Nina Turner, who goes on to say regularly that Tulsi is a great friend of mine. Do you know that Nina Turner, whenever I talked on the phone with her, she told me, she was like super excited about the fact that Tulsi was running, because they are still really good friends. She really wants her to have the best opportunity and the best chance to win. There was no animosity in her. No, Nina's obviously campaigning for Bernie, but like she was really excited about it. Who's her other ally? Well, Bernie Sanders, obviously. If Bernie Sanders was even willing to meet with Tulsi before this run, and we know they talked about the presidential run. Nobody, I think, has any disillusions about that. And still, like, they clearly have a relationship and a respect for each other. Like, look at her allies and look at her enemies. And I think it's clear that for any faults you may feel she has, the good that she would do, the experience that she could bring, and the evolution that she herself has displayed would be beneficial for the United States as a whole. No matter what capacity she would happen to have in the White House, but either way, one way or another, Tulsi needs to get into that White House. And the way to ensure that happens is to donate to her campaign right now. So thank you for the shout out, Tulsi. I greatly appreciate it. And of course, we still have a lot of work to do, but we will definitely do our best to make sure that the job gets done. Remember, more than anything else, people, find your balance. Peace.
Thank you for watching that segment of Mi Casa es Su Casa. Help us reach our goal of 500 patrons. You can do so by donating as little as $1 by clicking on the Patreon link in the description below. Don't forget, join us on Roku and JustNForm. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook as well. And remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.